Hello, Father Xavier.
Good morning, Modeste.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to this interview that will focus mainly on the upcoming General Chapter. So could you introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Modeste, first of all, for inviting me for this interview. I am Father Xavier Thirukudumbam. Before becoming General Counselor, I was philosophy professor and formator, not only for the SVD scholastics, but also for the diocesan clergy in the central part of India.
Could you tell us a little more about your experience as a provincial in India, in the province of INC?
Yeah.
This India Central, right?
Yeah. Since I've been a member of the provincial council earlier, it was not very difficult for me to get into the shoes of a provincial. And for the first 3 years, I was able to study the situation and be able to understand and address the issues of the province. In the second term, as I was about to, begin my program, and then the General Chapter came, and I was already elected as a General Counsellor.
You are from India, and India is part of the AsiaPac zone in the Congregation of the Divine Word Missionaries. What is now the situation of mission work of the SVD in AsiaPac zone in terms of field work, in terms of vocation, in terms of personnel?
I must say, AsiaPac has a very significant place in the whole of society in terms of the society's membership and mission. I'm not saying this because I come from the AsiaPac zone, but because I must say this, because today if you take stock of the situation, over 50% of our conference of the society now are working in AsiaPac zone. And naturally, the AsiaPac zone has its influence upon the rest of the society. Although, like any other zones, majority of the conference are engaged in pastoral ministry, I must say the highlight of the zone is its education and formation ministries. These ministries are very vibrant and significant to us. Let me talk a little bit about the education ministry. The education ministry is very significant because 72% of our educational institutions in the society are to be found in AsiaPac zone, and 17% of our conference are engaged in this ministry right now in AsiaPac zone. We are proud to say that AsiaPac zone, through its educational ministries, is able to create impact in terms of providing quality and value education, but also bring about social transformation in that area. And therefore, educational institutions are an important ministry for us in AsiaPac zone. Secondly, I must say something about the formation. See, now we are blessed with vocations from AsiaPac zone, and you are aware 65% of our conference come from this AsiaPac zone and are engaged in various ministries all over the world. Now, the formation in AsiaPac, even though we have a very solid and quality formation program, there are things that need to be taken into consideration. Okay. First and foremost, let me talk something positive about our formation. It is intercultural formation, it is integral, and it is also international, providing religious missionary formation. And the products of these formation houses are doing wonderfully well, I must say, in general, all over the world. And formation, in order to be a little more international, maybe some of the provinces in AsiaPac zone focus their attention on internationality of our formation houses. Another point that I want to mention here is the Indigenous Mission, be it in Australia or in the Philippines or in India. We have made a remarkable contribution towards the development of this Indigenous Mission. towards the people. We have made a difference in their life. We have a telling impact on their education and socio-economic development of these people. And still, we can do a lot. But it's very important that given the charism of our society, we need to, see that this kind of marginalized strata of our society are paid attention to in the coming years. Having said that, there are several other ministries in the ASPAC zone that are
Those parishes like?
Yes, parishes.
Parishes?
Pastoral ministry. As I said, about 30% of our conference are engaged in the pastoral ministry in ASPAC zone. But that is precisely what we need to see, how in these pastoral situations we can infuse our identity. What do I mean, our identity? For instance, there's a profile of an SVD parish. We are doing a great measure in order to promote this identity, but there's still more we can do. In terms of promoting our 4 characteristic dimensions, there's a lot that we can do in this regard. And I think in the coming years, we need to channelize our resources in a greater measure to promote these aspects of our identity in the pastoral situations of ASPAC zone.
You see conference from ASPAC zone everywhere in the world. But still, there are countries in ASPAC zone who like to have conference from other countries. But there are still problems, restrictions. How can you address that issue?
There are some province PRMs in the ASPAC zone. They have already engaged in making the province more international and intercultural. Okay, there are some, for instance, in India, there is a problem. In Vietnam, there is a problem. In Indonesia, still there is problem of inviting overseas missionaries to work there. But I must say that Indonesia is making a steady progress in inviting overseas missionaries to work there. But that's not happening in India. India needs to work more. It may not be possible because of the government regulations to invite overseas missionaries, but definitely students for OTP, ESP, and CTP programs like this, we can very well have provisions for this, and we need to promote more and more of students coming in. But the hitch is that the provinces may not be able to invite overseas students. But if the students are able to qualify for the requirements of admission to any of the universities in India, that's a very good thing. We can, side by side, integrate also the OTP program along with their university studies, and that is quite possible today.
Could you come up again with maybe specifically some concrete challenges and joys of the mission, the SVD mission today in ASPAC zone?
Yes. We are, as I said, we are blessed with vocations, okay? And I'm sure we continue to, receive more vocations, attract more and more young people to our society in ASPAC zone. But we should not be complacent. The vocation level is gradually declining, and therefore we must make every effort, I must say aggressive efforts and innovative efforts to attract more vocations or recruit more vocations to our society. The second challenge would be our communities, as I said already, very vibrant in terms of its interculturality. At the same time, we need to focus also in promoting and fostering community life in terms of interculturality, and also in terms of spiritual, community spiritual exercises and activities. So building up of community life is another challenge. I'm happy to say that our missionaries are well accepted, appreciated, and wanted. Our missionaries in ASPAC are in great demand. At the same time, we need also to see how well these missionaries are trained. There is no doubt we have a treasure, or there is a big concentration of highly qualified, academically talented treasure in ASPAC zone. But this need to be also to be shared. There should be a collaboration and a cooperation among the provinces in sharing these rich resources. Then coming back to the community life. Now, it is important that we have, we promote community life. But at the same time, these communities also need to see that how well that we are able to create an environment in which everyone feels at home. And another challenge that I see is that positively, there's a tremendous progress with regard to financial self-reliance. And there are also some provinces making a valiant effort to make totally financially self-reliant. And in the future, I'm sure there will be more and more PRMs reaching up to this stage of financial self-reliance. But what's important is the next step. How we can express financial and personal solidarity with one another in terms of sharing our resources, in terms of expressing support to the needy PRMs. That should come up in the not only intra-zonal, but interzonal, but intrazonal, cooperations. Yeah, there are other challenges that we are facing today. That our situation is marked by various conflicts, interreligious situation, and in such situations, address interreligious conflicts and arising out of ethnocentrism or political and religious motives or religious intolerance. These are the issues that we need to effectively address because we are equipped. That's part of our charism. Our intercultural fabric, which is a gift, is also a challenge. What ways challenge? We ourselves not only live this as a witness, but we also promote among the communities we work, the interculturality. We have ample opportunities to develop this, this charism of our society, communitarian or intercultural communitarian aspect of a fabric of our society.
Your light must shine before others, faithful and creative disciples in a wounded world, is the theme of the upcoming General Chapter. What could be the wounds of the ASPAC zone?
Good. First of all, I must acknowledge and declare that we have chosen a very beautiful and relevant theme for the next General Chapter. And as I told you already, ASPAC zone is characterized by deep religiosity and acute poverty. As a consequence, you have wounds of inequality, injustice, impoverishment, intolerance of religious nature on the one hand. On the other hand, you have clericalism, communalism, and climate change impacts. These are all seriously affecting. It is in this context, we as Divine Word missionaries have a very crucial and significant role to play. I'm not saying that we are already not doing, but in the light of impelled by or inspired by this theme, I think we can do tremendous task in bringing about a transformation in this area. Why I'm saying is because we are already skilled in the area of, let's say, interculturality. Our intercultural life and mission is a tremendous witness value in the situation of conflict in ASPAC. And along with the interculturality, our characteristic dimensions specifically, meant or relevant to such a situation. If following the theme, if you are going to be a little more creative and faithful, I'm sure our light of our identity, our charism, our mission will shine brightly in the future or in the days to come in ASPAC zone. I think it's not only a privilege for us to be in the ASPAC zone to address this situation, but it is our bounden duty to see how well we can or how creatively and faithfully we can address these issues that are emerging. And today, more than ever before, as Divine Word missionaries,
I guess there are things being done already.
Yeah, that's right.
Conference, the provinces, region of mission, there have been already creatives, in some issues. Can you name some of them concretely, despite of the differences of the countries, region, or whatever? Uh, where exactly the SVDs have been creative in the situation of wounds in the zone?
Yeah. Particularly when it comes to interreligious dialogue, we not only have centers, but you have also qualified persons, and we have made a definite impact in bringing about interreligious peace and reconciliation in times of conflict, be it in India or Indonesia. For instance, in Indonesia, I visited certain area. Our conferers are worshipped as heroes for the effort they have made when the big conflict between the two religious communities, flared up. And there are instances like this where not only theoretically in terms of interreligious dialogue or prophetic dialogue we have contributed, but also concretely in bringing about peace and reconciliation, especially in moments of interreligious tensions and conflicts. We have done a good job. In India, in the Philippines for that matter, when, still there are situations or areas where this conflict still persists. And that's where we need to continue to do not only the same thing, but more creative way we need to address this situation so that we can bring about a better impact in such situations. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, ASPAC zone is one of the biggest zone of the society. No, it is not only countries from Asia or in the province, but Australia is part of the ASPAC zone as well.
That's right.
And one of the problem today in that zone is also the ecology.
Yeah.
So is the society addressing that issue of ecology, kind of awareness, consciousness?
Yes, sure. In fact, we are signatories for the Laudato Si Action Platform, and during my visitations, I was able to I was able to see visible, transformations in this regard, visible activities in this regard. For instance, one of the things that I was, inspired was the ecological park that was, created recently, and then it's really making headlines in the Philippines, in Tagaytay. And there are also cases, instances where ecological promotion, fighting against this exploitation of the natural resources, be it in India or Indonesia or Australia, is happening. And we are partners in the struggle against these exploitations, promoting ecological concerns. For instance, use of energy, avoidance of plastics. These are some of the things that become part and parcel of our campus apostolate, wherever we are, in terms of promoting and proliferating this idea of ecology in our schools and our institutions. It's becoming quite, popular campaign among the SVDs in ASPAC zone.
What are your joys, challenges, the challenges that you have encountered during the 6 years as counselor at Admonitor?
I must say honestly, in spite of the interruption of the pandemic, the 6 years passed so quickly. What gives me a greater joy is that when we are on a visitation, we are able to see how the missionaries, when we encounter our own conferers and our collaborators, how they are able to work together and bring about a greater impact in terms of, establishing the reign of God. It is something that's very amazing. And there's a sense of pride when you hear, we want Divine Word missionaries. We would like to have as our pastor SVD missionary. There's a demand. People often come out with this demand when we meet, when we encounter the people saying that, no, we love our missionaries and we appreciate, we would like to have more of them. See, that's a very proud moment. See, not only that, I must say, the lay people who have been associated with us, they not only come out with a greater dedication, but also give concrete support and very specific, let's say, involvement in the ministry, in our mission in certain parts of ASPAC zone, which is very encouraging. For me personally, when I visit these zones, when I visit various PRMs, I see that it's fulfilling to see my own former students engaged in several activities, and I hear that they are doing well, even though they are trying to cope with the demands of very challenging and new emerging situations of the mission context. But it's a happy moment to see our young missionaries doing well in the field.
So, do you have any anecdote, story that has touched you during your 6 years, especially during the visitation?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot that we can say about, and I have just one anecdote to say that is related to our theme as well as related to what we are. If our name is our mission, then our life is our light.
Well, after 6 years, you must have at least a word to say to the society, to the congregation, no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Any
Sure.
any word to say?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I always enjoyed, happy that I have chosen to be an SVD. After the 6 years of my experience, that not only that feeling of being an SVD, a proud feeling of an SVD is reimposed, but also I feel a great sense of pride and developed a greater appreciation for the society. Not because I'm SVD, but in comparison to what's happening around, we are doing very well and we can do better.